I lived with my grandfather, and he raised me really from the time that I was 4 years old until I was 12. It was very humble. It was a humble life. It was, it's a farm life. My grandfather was a farmer. School started at 7, so at 4:30 we were all up. We had to do our chores in the farm, feed the animals. Our fun was mostly outside, climbing trees. We will climb our neighbor's tree and get in trouble for it. No TV. I didn't watch TV until I was 12 years old. It's the first time that we had a TV in town, and I used to pay 20 cents to my friends to allow me to come in and watch TV for about an hour or two. Temperatures were just like home, and so we were thinking, this is not bad. We can get to do this. And then I found out that I was in Miami and not in New York. And so we had to spend a day in Miami because we had to do our port of entry there and get all of our papers. We flew Eastern up here, and I was very happy. I was, a young boy of 14, and I was just very happy to be here. Really, I don't remember whether it was 30 degrees or 40 or 50 degrees, but any of those temperatures would have been extremely cold for me. But I remember being cold and my bones were starting to ache as we walked to the car. We drive into New York, and I was just dazzled by all the lights. And I was like, oh my God, this is, how many lights can there be? And so we got to Harlem. It was the middle of the night. There was garbage in piles on the sidewalk. There was garbage cans, and there were rats all over the place. And I turned over to my brother and I said, "This is New York." My mother was a factory worker. She worked in making blouses. I remember by the piece. The more pieces that she was able to manufacture, the more money she made. And so, because of that, she worked from 6 in the morning to 7 at night. My dad had two jobs. In the 1970s, he was making, I think, about $2 an hour. $2 an hour, and so he worked in two different restaurants. And when it was time for me to start the weekend, I remember switching weekends with mom and dad. I will help my dad in the restaurant in Friday nights, and then Saturday mornings I will go with mom to the factory so that I can help her. I lived in Spanish Harlem, and we spoke Spanish. We went to the grocery store and we spoke Spanish. We were home and we watched TV in Spanish, and we ate Spanish food. We mingled with Spanish people. So English was not a priority to begin with. I saw how my father and my mother were working so hard that I did not want to replicate that. And so I just worked extremely hard in school so that I can go to college. My year of school was more of the bullying than anything else. Going in September, I had only been here, I guess, 6 months. And I remember my dad giving me a quarter to go to school. But I was being shaken down for that quarter. Tyrone Jenkins, I'll never forget his name. He will shove his hands in my pockets and take my quarter every day until I got smart and I put my quarter in my shoe. But the one thing that scared me the most is that now I was in high school and I needed to learn the language. I remember my ESL teacher, Miss Glickman, and who is probably the biggest influence I had in high school. I really believe that had it not been for her, I would have never spoken English. It was a very young, very vibrant teacher who really cared about the students and who really cared about me actually doing well. Who said to me, if you don't learn how to speak English, you will never, ever succeed in this country. I don't know how true that is, but I certainly believe that had it been the other way around, I might have not done any of the things that I did after high school. I think I assimilated into the American culture a lot different than everyone else did in my family. I was the first one to leave home and go to college away, um, and so because I was brave enough, I suppose, uh, I met a lot of wonderful people. I remember having a conversation with my mother when I came back from school one day, and I told her I had met my wife today, and my mother was okay. That's wonderful. So how am I going to communicate with her? So my mother wasn't thinking of how happy I was. She was thinking about how she was going to communicate with my then girlfriend. I certainly don't think of Ecuador as home anymore. I'm rooted there for sure. I still have nostalgia for it, uh, and I don't want to lose that. I do want to go back. And not so much for me anymore. But I think that my children need to have a bond with that particular piece of my life that they never have experienced. They haven't known that.
Esta mi tierra linda, el Ecuador tiene de todo. Esta mi tierra linda, el Ecuador tiene de todo. Ríos, montes y valles, sí señor, y minas de oro. Ríos, montes y valles, sí señor, y minas de oro.